Does Millward know the mayor's not here yet?
Call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Vining? Here. Germaini? Here. Lamore?
Here.
Felder?
Here.
Whitman? Here. Echoangeli?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here. Ask we all please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
During this time, guide our working together. Give us wisdom to make the right decisions, your understanding to listen to each other, and your compassion to move us through this extraordinary place in time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, first item, please.
The first item would be any amendments to the agenda.
I'm going to look to Mr. Pastou and before I ask council, because there's an item that's on our agenda that needed some clarification. Mr. Pastou, if you could, please.
Under item 2703, coronavirus response and action request, underneath that, I am asking, the first item is to be a mayor statement related to declaration of state of an emergency and administrative presentation. The second item would be a resolution appointing emergency preparedness coordinator. And the third item would be a resolution authorizing and/or ratifying actions related to COVID-19 emergency.
Would you mind?
Sure.
I can go through it, sure, no problem. The first item would be mayor's statement related to a declaration of a state of emergency and administrative presentation. The second one would be related to the resolution you have in front of you, which is resolution appointing emergency preparedness coordinator. And the third item, again, with the title of the resolution authorizing and/or ratifying actions related to COVID-19 emergency.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Felder,
do you need a motion to amend, or since it's already on the agenda, are we good to go?
we need to amend it to include those three items just stated. Yes.
Honor, but so is, when I proceed, is it just item 2703, or they're each their own individual item?
There are items under 2703. Just for clarification, will remain on the agenda as stated under council action is the request. When it comes to the resolutions, we will be asking for separate motions and votes. But the upfront is a statement as well as a presentation, then we'll get to the resolutions individually. If that helps. Okay. So we're looking for a motion and to amend the agenda and then support as well. And then the motion should, to amend should be as was requested through administration.
Your Honor,
Councilman Felder.
I motion that we amend the agenda to include under item 2703, a declaration of state, a mayor's statement and administrative presentation, a resolution appointing an emergency preparedness coordinator, and a resolution authorizing and ratifying actions related to the COVID-19 emergency.
There's a motion by Councilman Felder, supported by Councilman Lamore, to amend the agenda as stated under item number 2703. Any comments? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Vining? Yes. Germaini?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Angeli?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item, any citizen comments not related to an agenda item.
I'll see if there's any comments from those present here this evening. Seeing none, clerk, next item, please.
The next item is a proclamation.
Thank you. I'm going to make brief comments to this because we have a proclamation, and even in these times, there's still things that go on that are important to the community. The proclamation is regarding Child Abuse and Prevention Month. And while all this going on not only in the world, here in our country, in our state, in our community of Monroe, these are also important items. I'm not going to read the presentation this evening. I'd ask people that please check the Child Advocacy Network webpage. They had a variety of items that were going to be within the community. I'm not sure the status of those. So please check their website and provide your support. And we'll make that proclamation presentation at an appropriate time here in the near future. Clerk?
Next item is a public hearing, item 2691, public hearing for ordinance 20-002, and there are no comments on file in the clerk treasurer's office.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing regarding 2691, public hearing for ordinance 20-002 regarding ordinance to amend Chapter 353, flood hazard areas of the Code of the City of Monroe. Any comments from those present here? Any comments from council regarding this item in public hearing? At this time, I'll close the public hearing. Before we move to council action, just a brief comment about that. We tried to make sure that this agenda was streamlined for important items. This had a specific time sensitive nature to it, so this is why it appears here this day. But of course, if there's comments people have, they have provided them to city engineering, and we can, of course, we'll make sure if those are that they be included. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is under council action, item 2688, ordinance number 20-002, floodplain management, up for its final reading.
I'll make a motion that ordinance 20-002 floodplain management be put on the, be considered for its final reading.
Motion by Councilman Michelangeli, supported by Councilman Felder to place 2688 to adopt the ordinance as stated. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Vining? Yes. Germaini?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Angeli?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Ordinance 20-002, Chapter 353, Flood Hazard Areas. An ordinance to amend Chapter 353, Flood Hazard Areas of the Code of the City of Monroe. The City of Monroe ordains.
Shall this ordinance pass?
Councilperson Vining? Yes. Germaini?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Angeli?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
All right. The next item is item number 2703, coronavirus response and action request.
be looking for a motion to place on the floor so we can have the discussion and presentations.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we place on the floor the three items, the report from the mayor, the resolution regarding the emergency preparedness coordinator, and the resolution authorizing and/or ratifying actions related to COVID-19 emergency.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Michael, supported by Councilman Moore. Item 2703 is placed on the floor. I guess we don't need a motion to start here, right?
But we can,
Yeah, please make roll
because
call.
of the gravity of the situation, I
Sure,
think that's
please make
fine.
roll call.
Councilperson Vining? Yes. Germaine? Yes. Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Echoangelini?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. So to start, I'm going to start with a kind of a message to the community, how we got here today, and the presentation will follow with much more details. And of course, as we move forward to the resolution that we're looking for council to pass. So yesterday, Sunday, March 15th, as mayor of the city of Monroe, I issued a state of emergency declaration. This declaration was in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the past several weeks, city council and administration has been continuously reviewing with the county health department and emergency management officials the city's response plan to the coronavirus pandemic that has impacted our state, our country, and the world. Through the weekend, it became overwhelmingly obvious that beyond the preparations already made, a more formal incident command structure to direct the city resources in a time of emergency was necessary to protect the health and safety of our residents. This is the foundation for the state of emergency declaration I delivered yesterday in accordance with Chapter 52 of the City Code related to emergency preparedness. It was clear by the multiplying numbers of confirmed positive coronavirus in Southeast Michigan and now in Monroe County that preventive measures and implementation through our emergency response plan was warranted. With the state of emergency declaration, an Office of Emergency Preparedness is established, and the City Emergency Operations Center has been activated. The Emergency Operations Center provides the necessary structure for a more nimble and flexible government that is capable of meeting the challenges of our community and what they may face in this pandemic evolves. Before we get to the presentation, I want to thank the administration, city manager, staff, and all the support, and clerk treasurer, and thank you to the city council for your input and conversations in moving forward with that yesterday. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Pastu and Mr. Mark Cochran to kind of give some background and full information, not only to us here as a council, but you've been a participant in, but also the residents here and watching this evening of where we are today. Mr. Pastu?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to, we'll provide a little background related to some of the items and actions that have been taken, but also use this as an opportunity to build up to the two resolutions of action that council will consider at the end of this presentation. So I'm going to have Mark start it off. I'll step in here and there, and then on the back end, Mark will conclude with an update on a couple of items.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, Mark Cochran, Assistant to the City Manager. The presentation that we've developed for you tonight, I think, kind of lays out that several weeks ago we knew so little about the COVID-19 virus, and I think even yet we still don't know everything that we need to know. A lot of what we do know now are the reasons that we have for great concern and the cause for the important measures that were taken by the mayor last night, as well as the actions that you're considering this evening. We know that the virus is highly contagious and spreads very quickly. The symptoms are not easily recognized to the carriers. There is no cure or the vaccine developed that is widely available for the virus in the immediate future. Testing capacity for the coronavirus has been slow and unavailable. The Centers for Disease Control has estimated that at least 1/3 of the U.S. population may contract the virus. Individuals that are most at risk include the elderly and those with compromised immune systems. And we've been told the mortality rate of those infected with the virus is about 10 times that of the seasonal flu. So at this time, the one thing that we do know is that social distancing are the safest way to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. The timeline that we're looking at right now, I think, is a good demonstration of how fast and how quickly things have been moving since the outbreak occurred, first globally, then nationally, then state, and now in our local community. So we know on March 11th, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic related to the coronavirus. In January, the Secretary of Health and Human Services declared a national public health emergency. And then on March 1st, the president declared a national emergency related to the coronavirus. On March 10th, the governor declared a state of emergency and has issued several executive orders, including closing the schools, limiting crowd sizes, and today closing bars and restaurants to dine-in service. Monroe County, we've been in close communication with the health department and emergency management, as well as the leadership at the county, and they're currently operating under the state and national emergency declarations. And then, obviously, cause for great concern was when the first presumptive positive case was announced in Monroe County this past Saturday evening. So, as city administration worked with city council late last week to start putting in mitigation measures to help stop the spread of coronavirus in the city, I'm just going to briefly recap the actions that have been taken and announced so far through a couple press releases that went out starting Friday, and then we had one Saturday, and then, of course, the declaration of the state of emergency by the mayor last evening. But on Friday, all city-owned facilities were closed until March 17th, tomorrow. We immediately began implementation of telecommute plans, and non-emergency staff necessary for the continuity of operations of city government were sent home. Additional environment cleaning has been implemented and ongoing at city facilities as well. Most boards and commissions were canceled through March 23rd. City Council canceled the special meeting this past Saturday, and the work session this evening, and then also the one next Monday on the 23rd have been canceled. All city-related travel has been suspended for employees. And on Saturday, when the city council work session was to occur, administrative staff, leadership, supervisors, and other staff met to review the emergency plans and develop a continuity of operations plan for the city, and that work was ongoing throughout the weekend all the way up until tonight's city council meeting. Additional measures that were announced by the city this weekend included a moratorium on water shutoffs through the end of the month. Any disconnected water services were restored so that residents could continue with preventative measures. The rental inspection program was suspended. Online service requests are still encouraged through the My Monroe app, but residents should know that responses may be delayed while we're operating under a state of emergency. Communications were sent regarding promoting the online and mail services for city business, including permits, recreation registrations, payments of water bills, utilities, and other items. So even though City Hall was closed, there's still responses to the mail and online services that the city is receiving. The Recreation Department canceled most of their programs while our parks remain open. City administration is also working with our vendor to suspend the service fee for online payments, and that work I know is ongoing today, and we're going to talk about that a little more tonight. Any previously approved or new special event applications will be reviewed and responded to on a case-by-case basis. And there's also been no change in the refuse and recycling collection across the city.
Let me pick up on these items going forward. As you know, we initially had City Hall closed through tomorrow, March 17th. One of the things in the resolution that we'll be asking council to consider is extending that through April 7th. Part of the rationale is twofold. One is many of the state, I think with education, are planning to reopen or consider reopening on April 6th. And the other portion is we have a meeting scheduled for April 6th. So therefore, if there's a determination to reopen our facilities, it'll give us a day or so to mobilize personnel and be able to do that. So that's the rationale for extending it, the close of city facilities through April 7th. Obviously, cancel all boards and commissions through April 8th. We have a couple. One is a pension board on Wednesday. We're still going to meet. And then a final board of review meeting this Thursday morning. One of the things that in this process is somewhat related to what they were considering at the federal government level, which was creating a leave bank for employees. I'm recommending, and it's contained in the resolution, a leave bank of 20 days for emergency pandemic leave to all city employees. It serves a number of purposes. One is that some of the administrative personnel that we have sent home for this period of time would be able to use that time until we've given them further directions as to when to return. The other portion of it too is, a lot of this was driven to keep secure our personnel to provide the services that are essential during this pandemic, starting obviously with the most basic of water service, but extending to police, fire, and other municipal services. The idea behind this is we don't want anybody, if they in fact think that they may have some exposure, and if in fact they're quarantined, they draw from this. We don't want that potential exposure expanding to other employees. I think all of us that have had kids know what the experience is. One kid gets it, it goes fast, and everybody gets it. That's clearly what we want to put on hold if we possibly can. So the recommendation, and it's contained in the resolution, would be for the HR director and myself to set up the policies and procedures related to that. But it is somewhat consistent with what was being considered federally regarding employers providing time off. The 20 days also, I think, fits into the framework that we know that this immediate crisis will continue for, but it also fits into nicely from a Fair Labor Standard Act as it pertains to overtime schedules, if you will, for general employees, police, and fire. A 28-day work schedule gives me a consistency there. And then the last item is just an operational thing that we decided this morning, which is to close the playscapes and playground equipment at our park. We can't guarantee keeping it clean. We don't want assemblies to take place. I think this afternoon the president recommended no more than 10 people at any one location. And I think it also sends the message, the severity of the circumstances by which we're confronted. So those are the items as we get to the resolution. If you'd like, we could talk a little further about with that. Next item. So part of it is, with the mayor's statement of emergency declaration yesterday. It does initiate and establish the Office of Emergency Preparedness and activates the Emergency Operations Center. One of the items the council will consider the appointment of Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. There will also be an appointment that would, once that preparedness coordinator is established, naming an emergency management liaison, again, part of our consistent with the incident command structure, but also consistent with what we have in Chapter 2 of 52. And then there's a succession planning, a government succession plan that's contained in the resolution regarding approval of and ratification of actions. So, and Mr. Cochran's been working with a number of social service agencies, and I'll let him talk about the next two slides related to the activities that are taking place there.
I think one of the most important things that we should not be doing during this time is operating in a silo to ourselves. Once we began to implement our emergency operations plan late last week, immediately performed outreach to a wide variety of city organizations and agencies to let them know of actions we were taking and also learn about what actions they're taking. And I would say that those communications have been ongoing almost daily since probably about Thursday afternoon. We've been in contact with the Public Health Department as well as Emergency Management with the county, and I know Vince and Mayor have been talking to Mr. Bosonic and Chairman Levens with the Board of Commissioners. Obviously, a lot of concern and conversation with the Monroe County Opportunity Program regarding operations at the Opportunity Center that we'll talk a little more about, as well as some of the other services that our residents and community rely on. We reached out to the YMCA to talk about the plans and programs that they're implementing and executing. Also talk to and continue dialogue with our school districts, whether it be Monroe Public Schools, the ISD, as well as St. Mary's and Monroe Catholic Elementary Schools. Also been in close contact with Nancy Belair at the Monroe County Library System on a daily basis. Obviously, 2 of our facilities are leased by the library system, and they use those. So we've been having constant dialogue about what each other's plans are. Also in discussions with the local hospital on their preparation, planning, and availability. And as a result of this, we've developed a full communication stakeholders list for distributing news and information about actions of the city in a very timely manner. I think that has about 40 people on it at this point, ranging from government, nonprofit, business leadership, agencies, and organizations to try and keep them fully informed on actions we're taking and share information. So I wanted to share tonight some of the things that are happening in our community. Obviously, we're responsible for providing for the safety and well-being of our residents. In addition to the police and fire service, water, wastewater services, refuse collection, there's other very tangible items such as providing food and shelter or transportation services and shelter for residents. So I just wanted to go through some information to get out not only to you, council, but also to the public who are watching tonight. You may have seen Monroe Public Schools is using their bus routes. Probably well over 100 different bus stops around Monroe County right now, and also Monroe Middle School is available for walk-ups for 2 box meals every day. They're delivering a breakfast and a lunch meal to each of those bus stops. Any individual under the age of 18 is allowed to have one of those meals. They do not have to be a student at Monroe Public Schools. And today I talked to Dr. Everly, superintendent, late this afternoon, and today they delivered about 900 meals just today. And obviously, as word gets out, they expect that to ramp up. They do have a plan in place, rest assured, in the event of diminished driver capability or ability. If drivers are unavailable for the school buses, they have a plan for continuity of operations to ensure the ongoing delivery of those meals to their students. And the information is available online through the school district's website. I think we've been sharing it as well about what are those routes, the stops, the times, and the eligibility for food. So Monroe Middle School, I know, is open every day. If you can't get to one of those stops, they're allowed to come up, have a grab-and-go meal, not congregating, not assembling at the school. In addition to that, the Monroe Family YMCA began grab-and-go meal distributions tonight. Across the city and across Monroe County. They've done a tremendous job in filling a gap, whereas the schools and other organizations are providing boxed meals or breakfast and lunch. The YMCA is looking to fill the gap of supper meals. So at each of the grab-and-go meal distribution sites throughout Monroe County, an individual can come and get up to 10 meals per family, no questions asked. That began today, and I've listed on the screen the 5 different locations that are within the city. There are more throughout all of Monroe County, but for tonight's purposes, I've listed the dates and the times. Note they are using 2 city facilities, the first being the Opportunity Center, as well as the former fire station at 75 Scott Street. I walked down there tonight. When they were delivering meals through there, and they had the van parked up there. You park, you get out, you take your meal, you get in your car, and you leave. So no assembling there either, but making sure. The YMCA also has emergency childcare open and available as well, with screening precautions in place to ensure the safety and the health of the participants. So contact the Monroe Family YMCA for more information on that service. Finally, a few items to walk through with Monroe County Opportunity Program and the Opportunity Center. Obviously, the Opportunity Center at the ALCC is a city-owned facility and has been closed since Friday afternoon to prevent the assembly and the congregation of crowds of people. The Monroe County Opportunity Program, or MCOP, has transitioned the Opportunity Center to now be the Coordination and Mobilization Center for all the mobile food and emergency food distribution throughout Monroe County. I know they were working with Gleaners out of Detroit tonight. They're assembling about 250,000 emergency food boxes to be distributed throughout their footprint, and that includes Monroe County. So the Opportunity Center will become the hub of which those are distributed. I know they're also working on 2 upcoming mobile food pantries and distributions at the Opportunity Center. City administration, including police and fire, have been working with them on making sure that's done in a safe manner in accordance with the state and federal guidelines and recommendations. So that's the work that's being done at the Opportunity Center. Those meals, again, are the emergency boxes and the mobile food pantries. You drive up, the food gets placed in your car, and you drive off. Nobody's getting out. Nobody's rolling down the window and talking to folks and risking that exposure. But again, it's important that our residents have food to eat during these times. I know there's particularly some concern about senior services for our senior residents. Monroe County Opportunity Program is continuing meal delivery, essential transportation, and in-home services with those who need senior services. I put the phone number on the screen. If anybody knows of anybody, any seniors in Monroe who need any of these services or need someone to reach out to them, dial 734-241-2775, and extension 802 is the MCOP Resource Advocacy Office. They are doing outreach to the clients that they know of. I know the Opportunity Center is going to be reaching out to the seniors in the neighborhood and the community that they're aware of. But again, if any seniors need services, contact MCOP. They are still continuing their specialized transportation services for seniors and individuals with disabilities to get to their medically necessary appointments as long as schedule permits and health facilities remain open during this time. And then very important too, Monroe County Opportunity Program is the coordinator for the Network on Homelessness for all of Monroe County. So this afternoon they convened a call with the leadership of all the homeless shelters in the entire county to make sure that they're beginning to, or have put in place preparations and protocols for dealing with the homeless population during this emergency. That includes protocols taken if a suspected case comes, as well as making sure that they have all the support services, that particular population, to ensure their health, safety, and wellness at the same time. And so MCOP is really the one coordinating all of the homeless shelters throughout the county. And so we've been letting them take the lead on that and have those conversations and report back to us. But one of the things that we are doing today, we had a call with these providers, the school districts, Monroe County Opportunity Program, the Opportunity Center, and the YMCA. And that call will continue every other day through this emergency to make sure that we know what they're doing, as well as they know the services and support that we can provide during this time. So those conversations and that coordination will continue. And finally, the health department did release a coronavirus COVID-19 hotline. If any members of the public has any questions or concerns related to the coronavirus, 734-243-8600 is a local number to call. And that phone number will be staffed Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. This is in addition to some of the state and national hotlines that have been open and released, but this is specifically for Monroe County.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Pastu, further?
Nothing else to add at this point for the resolutions.
And I know we have resolutions to move forward with. I have kind of an introduction to each of them because there is information that I need to make sure I include according to the city code. And if, as I get through these, if there's something from Mr. Buds regarding or questions about the resolutions, please inquire before we conclude the vote. But I just want to start by saying, again, my thanks to the staff administration and city attorney as well for being here. So on these resolutions, the first resolution is about the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. So as directed in Chapter 52, Section 4 of the City Code, I am requesting that the City Council approve the appointment of City Manager Vincent Pastu as the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator to establish an incident command structure, designate the necessary officers to execute the management of the emergency operations. I request that this action be done so through the resolution that's presented.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution appointing the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, designating City Manager Vince Pastu as that coordinator.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Michaelangi, supported by Councilman Lamore, regarding the resolution appointing Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Binding?
Yes.
Germaine? Yes. Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Echoangeli?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. So the next item is related to the second resolution authorizing or ratifying actions related to the COVID-19 emergency. One item which is in there, which is within our code and requires action, a request from the mayor and specific action amongst the other items in there, it deals with the secession of government. So additionally, as directed in Chapter 52, Section 5.3, and is within the resolution as stated, I'm requesting that the City Council approve the secession of government during emergencies with Councilman John Michelangelo be designated to carry out the duties of the office of mayor should I be unable to discharge my duties as mayor. And again, I request this be done so through a resolution. Motion to accept the resolution.
I make a motion to accept the resolution that for the purposes of succession of city government, in the event Mayor Robert E. Clark is unable to discharge the duties of the office of mayor at any time during the duration of the state of emergency, council member John Ikeangeli is appointed to discharge the duties of the office of mayor.
Motion by Councilwoman Vine, supported by Councilman Felder, regarding the resolution authorizing and ratifying actions related to the COVID-19 emergency, including the duties and the secession of government. Clerk, Ms. Pastou, is there?
I didn't know beyond that if there was any other question related to some of the other action items that we covered in the presentation.
And that's what I was going to ask if there's other items, because there's other items in here. They were in the presentation. They're inclusive with the resolution to make sure that these necessary important actions are done as well. They're also within that resolution.
So should I make a motion to accept the entire resolution?
Yeah, and if you just amend to add the header. Yep.
So I'd like to amend that motion. I'd like to make a motion to accept the resolution authorizing and/or ratifying actions related to the COVID-19 emergency, including all of the items laid out in the resolution.
And that's the addition of Councilman Felder as the support.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Yes.
No other comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Binding? Yes. Germaine? Yes. Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Echoangeli?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Before we get to the consent agenda, just a couple additional comments, if you'd bear with me. You know, first, I appreciate the council's input as we work through this, but also the actions here this evening to be able to move forward. But this message is also for the public that we need and ask for the community participation as we move forward in the city of Monroe, in our region. You know, the simple measures that have been discussed in the past about social distancing, personal prevention actions for the health and safety are essential to all of us. These actions here really enable us to, the temporary alterations of the regular and routine activities that occur in city government, because we are in an emergency operations. These things put forward allow us to be more nimble, as I said before, to provide the health and safety of our residents. And it really allows us to rapidly direct the full resources in a quick manner, because as we know, this is evolving rapidly. This move also protects our employees and their families, ensuring that we can and will continue to deliver the essential services that our residents need in these challenging times that we are in now and may to come. You know, our global conditions begin to improve. The local government will need to be flexible and adapt to the challenges we face now. And as governing by our charter and this declaration, that's what we can do. We're doing and will continue to do the days and the weeks to come to protect the lives of our residents and our employees. But we also encourage you to be a part of this process and assist us in the necessary preventive measures to protect yourself and your family. As was stated, there's many avenues to get information through the city's website and other items that have been posted. We want to be here if you have needs. If you cannot find the services and support you need, please do get a hold of us. Just because City Hall facility is closed does not mean we're not attending to the emergency as well as the regular day-to-day cares and needs for the community. So please, their employees are working. We have critical resources and critical services being provided. So please, we're asking for the participation of our community to make sure that we stay ahead and kind of slow down what we know is already occurring and be more successful as we get further along. So with that, those are my comments I wanted to add to that as well. Clerk, next item on the agenda, please.
The next item is the consent agenda, and for approval of payments to vendors, the amount should read $846,958.92, 846,958.92.
With that, are there any items on the consent agenda that council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Comments from council? Seeing none, a motion for the consent agenda.
Your Honor.
Councilman Lamore?
So I make a motion that all the actions under the consent agenda be carried out and recorded by the clerk.
Motion by Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilwoman Germaini. All items on the consent agenda be accepted, placed on file, and carried out. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Vining? Germaini? Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Echoangeli? Mayor Clark?
Yes.
I have no further items, Your Honor.
Swear council comments, and Councilwoman Vining today.
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to say these are very anxious times for everyone, and I am well pleased that the city is taking these measures to protect our citizens, and I just want to send my prayers out. It's almost surreal to be living in these times and seeing that how the world is changing, and I just ask that we all help each other as much as we can, and my prayers go out to all of our citizens. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Germaini.
I want to say thank you to all the organizations that have helped feed all the families in the city and county. And please be mindful of your neighbors and perhaps some seniors that are not able to get out or cannot drive. Check on them, knock on their door, see if they need anything, give them a call, see if you can fulfill the needs that they're not able to get. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilman Lamore.
Yes, Your Honor. I want to assure all Monroe residents that we have taken these actions tonight for your safety, which is our foremost goal at all times. These actions will obviously be constraining, but I feel it is the best way we can ensure your health. Please follow these actions and do your best to keep your immunities up. Also, please don't panic or despair. These actions allow us to respond on a quicker and more direct fashion. Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilman Felder.
Thank you, sir. Just a reminder that the census is coming out. I have a family of 4, and I think that I completed it in about 5 minutes. So for most of us, some of us are going to get the extended version, but for most of us, it doesn't take any time at all. So just a reminder to get that done. It certainly impacts resources that are directed to our community, as well as the community that are, as well as the say that our community has at all levels of government. Our thoughts are certainly with the health and welfare of our community, especially those folks who are older and perhaps more vulnerable. I think the actions taken this evening really come down to protecting people, our residents and our employees, continuing the critical services for our community in a reliable and flexible way, and then ensuring that our employees are financially secure during this turbulence. I think that crisis tests character, and I hope and believe that the city and its employees have shown that we have it in spades. So thank you, Your Honor, for all of your actions and your response during this time, as well as members of the staff and the administration who put in some extra hours to make all this happen. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Whitman.
Yes, I have seen quite a bit of community lately. We went to the Everyday Heroes dinner the other day. Your brother won an award. That was wonderful. But you see a lot of community and people helping each other, and the children that won Good Samaritan and the other, I can't remember all the names of the awards that they won, but to see people raising their kids to do the right things and to help other people. And then, you hear about the chaos and the people that are panicking in the grocery stores. And this is a scary time. This is something that we've never been through. It's not like any blizzard or anything else that we've ever had to contend with. And I believe many of us thought that it was not that serious until recently when all the stores started closing. So if you can help your neighbor, help your neighbor. And I'm very proud of the city of Monroe and the agencies that have closed, but I worry about what the workers are thinking with their job, and the government stepped up and they're going to be able to get unemployment. And so, that's what it's all about. We're going to have to go through this. Hopefully it passes quickly. And my heart goes out to all the shelters, especially like because I have one, all the children are there, and it's panic time in that transition house right now because all of the kids are there and you're trying to, or make them have organized chaos, if you can picture whatever that might be. So, but we've also had many good people that over the weekend had family events that they dropped off food. We had people drop off big things of mastacholi and fried chicken from where they had, and not many people showed up because they were afraid to come out. So, we did reap the rewards, and that was, I like to see the women not just the women, but the people that are in these shelters, see how the community can treat them and to see the other side of the world that most of them have seen. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Michelangeli.
A couple things, Your Honor. First, it's just a little bit of sad news. Ben Tellerico, who was the former community development director for the city and currently serves as a consultant, lost his wife this weekend to a 2-month illness. And I just want to express my sadness to Ben and his 2 daughters. They have been through a lot the last couple of months, and this has been it's going to be a very trying time for them. So my wishes, and I'm sure council would extend the wishes too. Ben's been a really good advocate for the city of Monroe. Since Thursday, many of you know that, I do a lot of municipal consulting around the state as far as the western UP all the way down to southeast Michigan. And since Thursday and Friday and today, I've been pretty much on the phone with most of my client communities relative to scheduling projects, the things that this city administration is going through. And as I had mentioned to the city manager on Sunday, several of the communities that I talked to were not anywhere near, had their arms around what was going on. So without asking Vince's permission, I've kind of consistent with what Mr. Cochran was saying, that we shouldn't live in a silo right now. I provided some of the city managers Vince's detailed memorandum that he had sent out to city council back on Thursday relative to what the city's response was going to be, to give those other city managers an idea of the breadth and the comprehensive view and approach that the city of Monroe here is taking. And I have to tell you, what we're doing here in the city of Monroe is extremely advanced. And I'm sure the other communities will get there, but in my perspective, we are really ahead of the curve on this relative to what I've seen in some other communities. The last thing I would suggest, because COVID-19 at some point is going to phase itself out like they're seeing in China, but it's not going to be the last time we see a virus of this global nature. My suggestion to the city administration is, when this is over with, document what you have done to put together basically a response journal, so the next time this happens, we're ahead of the game even faster. So we learn from what we've done. But I have to tell you, based on the presentation I've seen tonight, not only with the city of Monroe, but with the other county agencies, this is pretty darn impressive of what people have done in this county in the last week. So I want to tell the city administration, the administrative staff, I know the mayor's been pretty much at City Hall around the clock. I think everybody that's been involved in this has done a great job for the community.
Thank you, Councilman. I just have a couple final comments, because as all this going on, business still does go on, and we have a downtown, we have a telegraph quarter that has small business and rely on our continued support. And so I just remind people that while these are really difficult times, there is the opportunity, and we talk about the restaurants and the closures. So I did walk through in downtown and made contact with other of our restaurants, owners in the city, and all of them are going to continue to provide service through a carryout, and they've instituted delivery. So please find their phone numbers, find their website, find their Facebook, order a lunch, order a dinner, have it delivered, be safe when that's occurring, because the quality and of their food and their hospitality is excellent and isn't going to change, but we do need to support them, keep them in our mind as well as they move forward to they and the economic challenges that face them, in addition to the health issues that they with this coronavirus. So I ask that we all remain vigilant through this time to the risk that's here, but don't panic. I think we've heard it from council members here. It's not a time to panic. It's a time to reflect on where we are and how we can get through this together. Positive participation is needed. So that's how we're going to continue to be the caring community that we have been and are and will be known for, as well as we move forward in the future. Councilman Kalangi, thank you for the unfortunate news, at least providing so. I was not aware of Mr. Tellerico's loss. Long-term partner here, and giving to the community of the city of Monroe my condolences to him, his family. And my final thanks again is to the staff, their leadership throughout this time, the administration for guiding all the staff through and presenting what we were able to make action on quickly, and as Councilman said, ahead of many other communities, and taking a position that's going to be best for the health and safety of our community. So, well, I know the council and the residents are thankful for your leadership and ours here in our actions. So that's where I am closing. Clerk Treasurer Lavoie, who has also been a participant in the leadership group and providing service as well as input and discussion, I want to thank you for those hours as well.
Thank you. So I have a lot of words flowing through my head right now. I mean, obviously there's a lot of words we're all trying to use to make sense and to explain what's going on, and they're all important. But at the same time, there almost aren't any words to really describe what we're going through and to make sense of it all. That time probably will come later. This is definitely a time for action, both on the part of the individuals and the community, and I have seen that throughout the community, and I've had the privilege of witnessing the staff here at City Hall under the leadership of City Manager Pastu and Mark Cochran and so many others. And I saw us all. I have had the pleasure of being in the room when they all came together on Saturday, and they worked really hard to implement the vision that senior administration had for how we were going to move forward. So, having said all of that, I'm grateful to everyone who's taking a part in all of this. To that end, business does go on. The clerk treasurer's office is going to be doing what we need to do to continue to process payments, answer questions. There are still people trying to buy and sell houses, that sort of thing. So people are calling in for payoffs, et cetera. Please call our regular numbers and 384-9140 and leave a message, and we will return it if we aren't in the office to answer the call. We are, in addition to processing payments, we're processing absentee applications for the May election, which is currently scheduled to take place in May 5th, I believe is the date. Sorry, there's a lot going through my head.
5th.
May 5th, all right. I haven't lost it completely, I still got it, okay. May 5th. So I would encourage anyone out there who wants to participate in that election to take advantage of no reason absentee voting. Email the clerk's office, drop something in our Dropbox, there's all kinds of ways. Communications Director Jody Egan is helping me make sure that everybody knows how to connect with the election, because our elections, in one way or the other, must continue. That's one of the bases of our government, obviously. So we are doing what we need to do to make sure that happens. Applications were mailed out on Friday. So you should be seeing it if you got yours?
Yep.
Okay, so that's still working. That's wonderful. And we're going to continue to send them out. So if you have any questions, you can call me at 734-384-9137. You can also reach me at 734-497-5319. And I will do my best to continue the service that I was elected to provide to the residents of the city on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Before I ask Mr. Pastou, there's a part of all this that brings things together. If we don't have communications, we don't have things stated correctly, timely, in a rapid fashion. Sometimes they happen up to the minute when you need to have them. So I want to give thanks and recognition to Ms. Jody Egan, who is our communications director. Those professional communications and staying up to speed with everybody that's sending items in or making requests, and keeping track of what is the priorities to make sure the administration has, and that we communicate back not only correctly but also rapidly. So I just want to say thanks, Jody. Mr. Pastou.
Thank you, Your Honor. And, let me start by thanking council support. Considering what transpired starting Thursday to where we are, couldn't have happened without the support of City Council. And that gave us a great opportunity to attack some other aspects of dealing with this situation. And certainly thanking the staff for turning around. I mean, from Thursday afternoon to canceling the meeting on Saturday morning to having everyone show up at the meeting was pretty remarkable, and participating actively. So, great appreciation for council support, but also staff support for all that they've done. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. The next phase of it is implementing the incident command structure and reporting that will go. That's the next phase that we'll work with and deal with other maybe issues as they arise. And so, the one last comment is talked about community. I've worked in a number of different places over my 35 years, and many of you have heard me. I've never seen a community like Monroe where so many people work together. I mean, evident by how quickly there was a plan dealing with food distribution for all of these agencies, and it extends into law enforcement, fire, EMS service. It just seems to be in the DNA of this community. And candidly, that's probably the best asset that we have to deal with this uncertainty. So, yes, it's going to be difficult, but we also have a good community that really rallies together to address the challenges in front of them. So, again, thank you very much for the support that you have, and we'll keep you updated as things move along.
Next item is there's citizens' comments. Any comments from those present here this evening? Seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilman Germaine to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vining? Germaine? Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Whitman? Yes. Angeli? Yes. Mayor Clark?
Yes.